Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now Sell Now on ET Now, a show where we get you answers for all of your stock-related queries. Remember, viewers, today is Friday, and you don't only get Buy Now Sell Now Pachala, but along with that, you get an episode of Techie, the Techie special episode. We'll only have technical analysts who will actually take all of your stock-related query and answer all of them for you. So on the technical front, today we have Kunal Bothra, and for the first time on the show, we have Rupak, who is a senior technical analyst of LKP Securities. A very good morning to you, Kunal, as well as Rupal. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. And just a quick brief for all of our viewers who are actually writing to us. Remember, you need to write to us on the WhatsApp number that's flashing on your screen. And also, we will not be taking any penny stock related queries. So it will be very difficult for our analysts or experts to give you a view on penny stocks. So please avoid writing about or asking queries about penny stocks, and do not please get offended if we are not able to take your queries related to penny stocks. But apart from that, remember, each time you write to us, mention your name, the stock that you're looking to invest in, mention that as well. Along with that, mention the buy price, the quantity, and the time horizon in case you've already purchased into a counter. In that way, our experts will be able to help you better. And talking about our experts, like I mentioned, we have Kunal Bothra as well as Rupal Dey joining us on the show. And let me take this first query to you, Kunal, and this query that I have is coming in for our viewer, from our viewer Dinesh, and Dinesh wants to know about Bandhan Bank. He's saying he's purchased this counter at much elevated levels from where the counter is right now, though he's not mentioned the buy price of Bandhan Bank, but he wants to know what's the trajectory for Bandhan Bank, and should he continue to stay put with it or look at other avenues now?
See, I think it's good that if you look at other avenues, but I'm not sure whether at current juncture, the stock would probably, there would be better stocks which are placed at a, better risk reward. Now, the concern for Bandhan Bank is over the last 3-4 years, I think from 2021 onwards, the stock has been going through a major downtrend. On the weekly charts, the stock has been trading below a consistent moving average, which is acting as a resistance for the stock. So every time there's been a rally into the stock, closer to this moving average is where you see the stock forming a top supply coming in, and the stock reverses from those levels. Currently, the resistance for the stock on the moving average front is closer to 220 mark. So till the time the stock doesn't break above the 220 levels, I would believe that this downtrend may continue for Bandhan Bank. As an offset, maybe you can look at ICICI Bank at current levels, since the stock is corrected by a margin of 8-10% in the last 8 to 10 days. I think that could be a good zone where you can look to go for a contra buy.
Well, absolutely. Rupak, I'm going to come to you as well. Good morning. Thank you so much for taking time out and joining us. I just wanted a quick chart check from you as well on Bandhan Bank. What is your take coming in on Bandhan Bank then?
So, my view is almost similar to that of KB. The stock has been sustaining below the important moving average, and it has given a swing low breakdown on the daily time frame. The RSI is also indicating a negative move in the short term. So overall sentiment looks a bit weak. It's a sell on rise kind of stock. One can sell or reduce his position once the stock moves towards 200. And on the lower end, the stock might fall down towards 174 in the near to short term.
All right. Let me take this next query then, and this next query that I have is coming in from our viewer. That is, this one is coming in from Deepika, who's writing to us from Bombay. Wants to know about BHEL, about 100 shares is what she has in her portfolio at the price of around 60 rupees per share, Kunal, as well as CESC, about 100 shares at a price of 154 rupees per share. What should she do right now?
Both of the stocks I'm very bullish on. BHEL is something which I had highlighted, some time back when the stock was at the 60 odd rupees. I believe even at current levels of 260, 70 where it's trading right now, it's a stock which you should ideally hold from a longer term play. So it depends on what kind of a time horizon you're looking out for. Since the fact that you are looking at, you've been holding on to these stocks for at least the last 3, 4, 5 years, I would continue to believe that you're a long-term investor. So I think in that context, I would suggest to hold both of these names. If possible, look to add few more from a longer term frame, something like maybe ONGC from long term charts, Vedanta from a longer term basis, Hindustan Copper, etc. These are the names which you can continue to add.
Alright, so bullish on ONGC and Hindustan Copper, and that's a take coming in from Kunal. But Rupak, I'm going to come right back to you because we do have Gautam who's writing to us from Mumbai. 4,000 shares of Power Grid is what he has in a break-even position currently. Now, he's not mentioned his buy price, but what is your recommendation, hold or sell on this counter?
After the recent rally, Power Grid has come back to its breakout zone. Now it is likely to consolidate around 335, 345 for next few days. Once the stock moves beyond 350, once again the stock might move up towards higher levels. So we need to wait and watch for some time so that the stock can give a directional breakout on the higher end. If it is if it breaks above 350, it might move up towards the 370 kind of level in the short term. However, if the stock falls below 335 and sustains below that level, then there might be some problem in the stock. So one can hold the stock with a stop loss of 335.
Apologies, actually, Rupak. I mispronounced your name as Rupal there. Apologies for that. So, Rupak there is with us from LKP Securities. And Rupak, coming right back to you, this one is coming in from Pankaj, writing to us from Faridabad. He has L&T about at a price of around 3,750, about 50 shares of L&T is what he has in his portfolio. What should he do? Hold or exit? No doubt it is actually off marginally, quite a bit off his buy price. But what's your take? Stay put with this one, given that it's a large cap play?
So yeah, definitely for the long term, it's one of the most favorite stock of Indian investors. And however, the stock has recently come down to its support level. 3,500 is exactly the strong support level. If the stock falls below 3,500 decisively and sustains below 3,480 on a closing basis, then the stock might be a reduced kind of stock, and one should reduce its position in L&T once the stock falls below 3,480 on a decisive basis.
That's about L&T, but we also have Bala who's writing to us from Chennai. Now, a quick chart check on EID Parry is what I'm looking at, Kunal, because he wants to know if this is a good buy at present. Now, of course, Bala, we're going to be able to take this query from a technical perspective because today, as you know, is our techie special show. So, Kunal, I'm going to come back to you for EID Parry then.
So it's a good chart. The sector is doing very well. We've seen many of the stocks, Balrampur Chini, Dalmia Sugar, etc. These stocks have been doing very well for themselves. So bullish on the entire space. EID Parry is also one of the consistent stocks over here. Been tracking the stock over the last many months, many quarters, and I think recently also, if I'm not wrong, from 500 or 550 mark, where this rally started off for EID Parry, the stock has hit 850 plus mark, which is a multi-month, multi-year high for itself. So it looks attractive. The space has been doing pretty well. I think on the back of this would suggest a hold.
All right, this next query that I have is coming from Raghavendra Rao, who is writing to us from Hyderabad. He has Trent, 10 shares of Trent at a price of 1,480 rupees per share. Kunal, he wants to know whether he should book profits or continue to hold on to this one for the long term. His buy price was, once again, I'll repeat, 1,480 rupees per share. The stock is at 7,400 rupees.
It's been a multi-bagger of sorts. Even recently, I think the stock in the last 1 or 2 years, the pace of rally is intensified. Now, after such a kind of a steep run, the first port of call is to at least try and book partial profits. Because the stock has gone back into deep overbought territories on the monthly as well as on the yearly charts. Now, even when the stock becomes overbought, it becomes difficult to try and anticipate that what could be the exact level of the stock forming a resistance of sorts. So I think the better strategy over here is to book partial profits and then hold on to the capital, maybe hold on to the balance, maybe look out for trailing stop loss. So at current levels, I would probably believe that 6,500, 6,600 could be a good trailing stop loss for Trent. If the stock doesn't break below those levels, you can continue to hold on the balance.
Alright, so there you go, Raghavendra Rao. That answers your query in terms of that being a multi-bagger. Book partial profits is the view coming in from Kunal. Moving on, then we have Vinod who's writing to us from Gurgaon. Then he wants a chart check on Lemon Tree as well as IDFC First Bank. What is your view coming in here, Rupak? Rupak?
So after a significant correction from around 138, the stock has been trading around its previous swing low. I'm talking about Lemon Tree. So the stock is likely to consolidate around 120, 117 kind of level in the short term. However, till the time it is sustaining above 115, the stock has a chance to recover towards 130 kind of level in the near term. So on the higher end, there's a immediate resistance at 126. Then it might above 126, the stock might move towards 130 kind of level. and support is definitely placed at 115. For IDFC First, so the stock has been consolidating around its previous swing. There's a consolidation low around 70. So one should hold the stock with a stop loss of 70, and there is a chance that the stock might move back towards high level of 75 in the near term. Above 75, the stock might move into the strength and give a strong rally towards 80.
This next query that I have is coming in from Karishma from Delhi, and she has a lump sum of amount that she wants to invest above the levels of about 10 lakh rupees, Kunal. And she's looking for an investment for a period of about 1 to 2 years. Any good bets in the healthcare space where she'll be able to actually go ahead and make that much of returns, or actually be able to benefit out of that lump sum investment?
So healthcare, I'm assuming it's the entire pharma sector. So I'd probably generalize it in that sense. I would believe that the traditional large cap pharma stocks are still looking very attractive. So yes, these stocks have run up in the last 3-4 months, but the likes of Cipla, Sun Pharma, Lupin, I think these three stocks have been looking very strong on the charts. The potential performers, which I believe could maybe, I think after a certain point of a trigger, I think these stocks could start to outperform, could be the likes of Dr. Reddy. That stock has been a slight underperformer in the last 2-3 months, where it's gone through its fair share of correction from 7,000 odd levels to 6,700 where it's trading right now. So that's also another name which you can consider buying. So I think if you're looking at this as a 1-year time frame, if I can generalize this to the pharma sector, then sticking to the large cap names could probably be a good strategy.
Alright, so stay with the large cap names when it comes to that particular pack. But Rupak, I'm going to come to you because Govind is writing to us from Anandpur. 100 shares of Credit Access Grameen Bank is what he has. Now he's incurring a loss of 15% when it comes to this particular counter, and he also is looking at Fusion Microfinance at 470 that he's holding. Now he can hold this particular counter as well for just about 6 months. What is your recommendation coming in on both Credit Access Grameen Bank as well as Fusion Microfinance?
For credit access, I think the stock has given a breakdown on the larger time frame, and I think the correction might extend towards 1050 kind of level in the near to short term, and the weakness might persist in the time it is sustaining below 1200. So it's a stock which can be sold or reduced around 1200, and on the lower end 1050 1020 is a level where once again it can be bought back. For Fusion, once again it's a stock which is going southwards only, and the stock has been consolidating around its lower level. So I won't recommend to buy. If somebody is holding, we can hold that stock with a stop loss of 237. About 250, it might move towards the higher level.
So those.
Thank you so much for staying tuned in. Well, let's continue taking all of your stock related queries, and we have Yuvraj who's writing to us from Chennai, Kunal, and he wants to know about Bajaj Auto as well as Godrej Property. What is your view coming in on both of those stocks?
So Godrej Properties is something which I would be very bullish on at current levels. My sense is that the real estate stocks are still looking fairly attractive. Now the good part about the stocks for Godrej Properties is that the stock very recently has managed to break past about the life highs. I think 2250, 2350 approximately was the range of the previous highs for Godrej Properties. So that's a chart which is looking attractive. It's corrected by a margin of more than 10% in the last 1 week, 10 days. And that could also probably bring in the risk reward to be a lot more better. But just because of the market circumstances and the scenarios which are playing out over the last 4-5 days, I would probably believe that buying on a staggered approach could be a better approach for stocks like Godrej Properties also.
All right, this next one that I have is coming in from Venu, who's writing to us from Chennai. Wants a technical view on Polycab, Rupak.
So the Polycab has recently given a previous swing high breakout, and the breakout came after a base formation. So the stock is looking very good for the short term. On the higher end, the stock might extend its gain towards 8,200, and on the lower end support is there at 7,000. So till the time it is remaining above 7,000, the sentiment might remain positive and might take the stock towards the higher level.
Right, so Kunal, we have Yuvraj who's writing to us from Bangalore. He wants to know about Tata Steel. 25% gains is what he has on sale, as well as a 10% loss. Which one should he let go is the question that is coming in from him.
Why let go? I think I would be bullish on the metal pack. Now, the concern which had emerged for, so, when we did a deep study of the entire metal sector, the relative strength and the performance of these stocks over the last 1 month, over the last 3 months, and over the last 6 months, there was particularly a point when Tata Steel and SAIL were ranked outperformers with respect to many of the other metal counters. There was a point when I think Tata Steel was about the 180 mark, and SAIL I think was around 150, 155 plus kind of levels. Now, then came a point when the stocks start to get into a 2-3 month of correction. I think from the month of June or July when the stocks made a high closer to their respective levels, which I just mentioned. Now comes a point where these stocks are again finding the strength. So there's been starting to see a relative outperformance for these stocks with respect to many of the other peers. Now, peers like JSW Steel, Jindal Steel, Vedanta, of course, these stocks have been hitting fresh highs or coming close to their life high levels. But I believe that eventually a catch up could probably play out for the other two larger cap names, Tata Steel and SAIL. I believe if you are in from a medium to long term play, and I'm assuming that you are looking at a high beta since you've invested into both of these stocks, I would believe that you should continue to hold on for at least another 2 to 3 months.
All right, hold on to Tata Steel and SAIL for at least another 2 to 3 months. And given the fact that you have a lot of news flow globally also right now that are lending support to the metal counters, that also would merit one for one to stay put in it, right, Kunal?
Absolutely, yes.
All right, let me take this next query coming from Gaurav Mohindra from Indore. This one is for you, Rupak. REC is the counter. He has about 2,000 shares at a price of 559 rupees per share. He wants to know a short-term view on this one.
REC has a very good support at 515. It's a 200 days moving average, and 200 days moving average we consider as a line of polarity. Till the time it is trading above 515 or 200 days moving average, we think that the stock is in long-term uptrend. So he should continue holding the stock with the stop loss of 515, and on the higher end, there is a possibility that the stock might move back towards 560 in the short term, and above 560, the stock might move into strength.
So we also have Tushar who's writing to us from Delhi, Kunal, and he was anticipating a festive season bonanza. So he's purchased Eicher Motors, 100 shares at a buy price of 5,060. What is your take coming in here, hold or sell?
See, I think it's a quality stock, but the only reason why I believe that the stock is going through a lot of choppiness is because of the news flow surrounding the stock price. I think if I'm not wrong, just yesterday or day before, there was some news flow which had come back into Eicher Motors, and the stock fell, I think 3-4% yesterday and 0.5% odd today. So I would probably believe that buying the stock on dips, and especially when the news flow is negative, would be a better strategy. It's a quality stock. I would still believe that from a longer term play, the stock can stand to regain the underperformance which it has over the last maybe 6 months, 1 year with respect to many of the other peers. So buy on dips could be a strategy for Eicher Motors.
Kunal, I'll come back to you. This one is on Tata Technologies. We have Sunny from Goa who's purchased 100 shares at a price of 1,066 rupees per share. He wants to know a 3-month view for Tata Tech. I know you have a limited chart history in this one, but anything?
So I've been tracking the stock over the last 2-3 months, and it apparently looks like that there's been a very strong set of buying which has started to happen. So I remember, I think the IPO and post the IPO, I think the stock was almost at 1,400, fell down to as much as 950, 975 approximately, and now from those 950, 975 over the last 2-3 months, the stock has seen a very strong surge in volumes, and that's led to the stock moving up higher from a base of 950 to 1,050, 1,100 kind of a range. Last 2-3 weeks, the stock is into a range. So my expectation is that the stock could probably be waiting on for some bit of trigger. If that trigger happens for the stock, if it breaks past about the 1140 mark, I would expect at least another 10% kind of an upside for the stock. So I'm not sure of the exact 3-month time frame from current levels, but whenever that 1140 level gets breached for Tata Tech and the stock closes or gives a weekly closing, I would expect at least another 10% on the upside.
All right, then we also have Chandrasekhar who's writing to us from Hyderabad about Piramal Enterprises. Bought at 1,020 shares is what he's holding. Hold or sell, what is your recommendation coming in here, Rupak?
So the stock can be held with a stop loss of 1,020. There is a moving average support at around 1,029. So the stock can be held. with the stop loss of that, and on the higher end there is a resistance at 1080. Once the stock moves beyond 1080 decisively, then there might be a buying pressure which might take the stock towards 1170 kind of level in the short term.
Kunal, just a quick note coming in from Sunny. He's thanked you and the entire team at Buy Now Sell Now for answering his and all the viewers' queries patiently, because he's also mentioned the fact that it must be really stressful to answer a lot of stock-related queries, isn't it? I'm sure Kunal will be like thumping the table saying, yes, it is very stressful, isn't it, Kunal?
It's a very tough job, and to get it right most of the times is also very, very tough. And to get it, get this done every day is a tall task. So, but we try our best, and fortunately, I think the markets also support us. Things turn out to be much more on the positive side.
Absolutely. And this one is coming in from then NSS Lakshmi, who's writing to us from Vijayawada, has Tata Communications 500 shares at a price of 300, as well as Raymond Lifestyle is the free share that she's got from the demerger. She wants to know whether she should hold or what should she do. I'm not sure if you can answer about Raymond in particular, but Tata Communications 300 is the buy price, reaping the benefit.
Yeah, I think I would believe that it's a fantastic chart from a long-term play. Now, even if you do a comparison between, not maybe an exact price-to-price comparison between Tata Communications with respect to Bharti Airtel, etc., the stock has been an underperformer. But even in the last 3-4 years, what the stock has done is quarter after quarter, the stock has shown signs of strength. There have been corrections within a span of 3-4 months for the stock, but then it tries to come back again, breaks past above the previous highs to make a fresh high for itself. So that generally, that quality of the stock to try and come back again after every phase of correction, I think is a hallmark for a price chart for Tata Communication. I think in that context, I would suggest a hold on the stock, but not a buy at current levels. A buy on dips could be a much more better strategy. And the stock periodically over the span of 3 months, 6 months gets into a phase of this 10% correction. Try and use that as an advantage.
Alright, so that's the view coming in on Tata Communication from Kunal. I'm going to come to you, Rupak, because we do have Swati is writing to us now. She wants to know about the real estate pack, and in particular, she wants to know about Macrotech developers and Brigade Enterprises, whether she should add into these or buy Godrej properties. What is your view coming in here?
So among the three, I think Godrej property is better placed. The recent correction has led to the stock support level, and the support is around 2800. On the other hand, the shares of Lodha is moving, has given a consolidation breakdown, whereas the stock Godrej property has come down to its support, and it is well placed above the 200 days moving average. So the stock is in long term uptrend, can be bought for a target of 3400 and plus, with a stop loss of 2800.
Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now Sell Now on ET Now, a show where we get you answers for all of your stock-related queries. Today is the techie special episode of Buy Now Sell Now. We have two technical analysts. We have Kunal Bothra as well as Rupak there to answer all of his stock-related queries. And this next one is coming from Sahana, who's writing to us from Chennai. And Kunal, she wants two stocks for a swing trade with a buy price.
Okay, so I think from the larger cap space, I would look at TCS at current levels, where it's trading right now. My sense is that the stock should come back to that 4500 mark, 4600 mark as a swing play, say in the next 1 to 3 months. So I think if that's the kind of a time horizon you're looking out for, you can consider a buy. Even as a very short term play, say over the next 1 to 3 weeks, I would believe 4340, 4400 could be a potential target range for TCS with a stop loss at 4160 mark. ONGC is something which I think at current levels of 295, 300 on the spot levels looks attractive, and the stock holds potential to come back quite strongly to 320 plus mark over the very near term. So that's another stock which you can look out for.
Alright, so there you go, Sahana. Those are your two counters. But we also have Pawan who's writing to us from Chennai as well, and he's asking us about Canara Bank. 3,000 shares is what he's holding at a buy price of 111, which is very close to the current market price, Rupak. So what is your recommendation coming in here?
So 111 is a very good resistance for the stock. There is a 200 days moving average which is lying around 111. So the stock needs to move beyond 111 decisively to witness a good rally. So, and on the lower end, the stock has a support at 107. So somebody is holding the stock, he can hold the stock with a stop loss of 107, and he can wait and watch if the stock moves beyond 111 or not. If the stock moves above 111, he can enjoy good profit.
All right, this next one is coming from Mahesh, writing to us from Delhi. And Kunal, he wants to know about VIP Industries, 300 shares at a price of 538 rupees per share. Should he exit or stay put for a year?
See, if on a day like this, if a stock outperforms and right from the start of the day, the stock is up, I think 5-6%, the last I had seen, it's balanced above the 200 moving average after trading for months below those averages, which means that there is a major support as well as a potential change of trend, which could be happening for VIP Industries. Now, since you bought at recent prices, I would suggest that it's better you try and trade the stock, say maybe closer to 575, 580. Look to book profits into the stock price. Try to get a swing entry back again in case if the stock corrects back towards that 550, 555 mark. So that could be a short-term swing suggestion from my side. But if you're a long-term investor, I think this could be a point where the stock may get into a big turnaround. So depends on what time frame, what strategy you're looking out for, and you can adopt the same.
All right, I'm going to come to you, Rupak, because we do have Sri who's writing to us from Bangalore, and they are asking about Kaynes Technology, 50 shares at a buy price of 5,300. Good time to book losses or average?
So the stock can be averaged around this level. The stock has a support around 5,000. Initial support is at 5,000. So the stock can be averaged here, and a stop loss can be placed below 5,000. The recovery might take the stock back towards 5,600 over the short term.
We have a query coming from Vinay. He's writing to us from Bangalore. He wants to know about crude oil prices. We've seen a sharp rise in crude oil prices, all thanks to what is happening in West Asia, the escalating tensions there, and that also has actually contributed to the crude oil prices seeing sharp spikes. So what is the trajectory now, if you can see on technicals? And also, I just wanted to understand for my benefit and the benefit of the viewers, these moves that you are seeing in the crude oil prices is because of a fundamental news, because of the news, geopolitical news. How does that actually change the way how you see the charts then?
I think it's a very, very valid question, and I think it's obvious that traders, market participants are getting a lot more jittery. But when I did a study of the historical context of whenever the crude oil prices have risen on the back of these geopolitical news flow or something, geopolitical tension surrounding, the rise is very difficult to gauge. But then immediately post the rise, we've seen the crude oil prices get into a V-shaped correction. So whether it was in I think Feb 2022, if I'm not wrong, the concerns with Russia, Ukraine, that was a point when crude oil prices had risen up very sharply. But then what followed was a major multi-month, multi-quarter downtrend for crude oil prices. I think from 120-30 range, if I'm not wrong, crude oil prices went down to as much as 65-70 odd on the Brent crude. So I would probably believe that what you're seeing right now is it's a very similar kind of a scenario. Now I don't expect the crude oil prices to rise very sharply. The rise in the last few odd days has been just about from 67, 68 to 77, 78 it's trading right now. Maybe there could be a point you might see the crude oil prices rising towards 80 to 85 mark. That could be the best which I can probably expect over the very near term, assuming the geopolitical tensions doesn't aggravate. But I think once it cools off, it should come back closer to that 70 mark.
Well, all right. So that's the take coming in when it comes to crude oil prices, and that's the update coming in from Kunal as well. But with that, we're completely out of time. Thank you so much, Kunal, as well as Rupak, for joining us today. Thank you so much for taking time out. But with that, completely out of time on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now, Share. We'll see you on the other side with Markets at Noon.
There comes a time when your heart calls for you to arise. Plant your feet solid into the ground. Decide your own limits. And then break right through them. Become something more. It's my time to rise.